What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the MC's Unscripted, where we talk to artists, entertainers, and behind-the-scenes decision makers who are some of the best at what they do. Now, before I introduce you guys to today's artists and decision makers, right, I want to bring to your attention to the music. Yeah, what you're listening to right now is called Pictures at an Exhibition. It's written by Modest Petrovich Mussorgsky. I hope I said that right. But this is one of the most famous and earliest examples of visual arts having a direct influence on the making and the hearing of music. Yeah, in 10 movements, Mussorgsky, I think I did it that time, I like that, attempted to recreate 10 well-known paintings, masterpieces, into song. Only by seeing the paintings could you actually get the full context of the music. So today, we're going to explore that, okay? And likely not in the way that you think. Let's talk about hair, shall we? Let's do it. My first guest is actually a duo. Leo Brown is a hairstylist and wig maker, and Jeffrey Richardson is a finance professional who turned to a stylist. We're going to talk about that. They both teamed up to run a hair extension business called Do Hair Manufacturers. It's in New York, I believe. And yeah, how are you guys?
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. I am stoked to have you here. I can't wait to get this thing started. I have a lot of questions for you guys. Next, we have Micheal Krehl. He's the director, owner, and professional artist at SMP Noosa. Micheal Krehl has been a makeup artist, hairstylist, and prosthetics professional in the film industry for over 25 years. Wow. Micheal, how are you?
Very good, thanks, Doug. Very good.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. Now, guys, Micheal has been involved with some of the biggest movies to hit the screens in the past decade, especially as New Zealand and Australia have all of a sudden become extremely popular as shooting destinations. How is it over there?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We're on the Sunshine Coast and just out of Noosa, in Queensland, Australia. So it's a good place to be.
Okay, let's just say this first. Leo, okay?
Yeah.
Leo Brown. He's been in the business for more than 25 years as well. He first gained notoriety when he was called to do hair for the very first Victoria's Secret fashion show. Together, this team has an impressive roster, people, like supermodels, singers, movie stars, politicians, created wigs for the Met Opera House and Broadway shows. Before we get to that, though, Jeff, what made you go from finance to fashion? I need this story.
Yes, it's interesting. I actually met Leo first in 2001. I was living here in Miami, where we are coming to you today from, and had gone to New York City just for a visit for a couple of months in the summer. And that's when 9/11 happened. And we know, as the pandemic that we've just been living through, 9/11 certainly changed all of our lives around the world. So as fate would have it, it kept me there in New York City longer than I had intended. And through mutual friends, I had met Leo. And at that time, he was actually working a lot in Paris, which I'm sure he can elaborate on. But at that time, we were interested in each other's work that we were doing. I was, as you said, pretty much in finance, but always had an interest in creative arts as well. And so then having to stay there in New York City a little longer than planned, one thing led to another, and certain opportunities started to present themselves. And Leo and I stayed in touch. Once Leo came back to New York from all of the couture shows in France, we were still interested in doing projects and still keeping in touch. And neither one of us ever aspired to be brick and mortar storefront owners. But that what kind of presented itself to us. And because of my finance background and Leo's strong history in the hair industry, we thought, okay, let's give this a shot. And so that's exactly what we did. And with the hair, the wigs, the systems, whatever you want to call it, we literally do everything from A to Z when it comes to hair.
Outstanding. Awesome. And let's not forget, guys, Leo and Jeff travel the world to literally hand source 100% human hair of only the best quality. We're not talking about run-of-the-mill starter-ups here. These are professionals, and they're good at it. Micheal, you actually do scalp micropigmentation. That's what SMP means, right?
It's correct. Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's also helping people who are follically challenged. It's a form of tattoo. It's a cosmetic tattoo. We're placing with a micro needle dots of pigment into the skin to simulate a shaven head look. So when you can use it for density as well, but it just is to create, rather than having a bald head, it gives the look of a shaven head look on guys. And also, it can be good for alopecia patients as well, or even ladies who suffer from female pattern baldness, thinning. Yeah, you can add density to their scalp. It breaks up the contrast between the scalp and the hair, creating a fuller. Disguises the thinness, if you know what I mean.
Awesome. And I had never heard of it, but when I saw the pictures of you guys are seeing these pictures now. These are actually from his website, so it's absolutely amazing. I never heard of it, and seeing it has completely opened my mind to new ideas just about hair and tattoos, style. All right, so you guys know who we're talking to. Let's get into it. In Psychology Today, there's an article called Hearing with Our Eyes, Seeing with Our Ears. Let me read you just a paragraph I thought was interesting. The writer says, we don't experience our senses individually. Rather, our brain meshes with our vision and hearing to create our conscious experience of the world, right? What you see can influence what you hear, and likewise, hearing can affect the vision. This is the crux, right? This idea that who you are as a musician is shaped by, your hair and the look. And you know a lot about that, Leo, working, I'm sure, on Broadway and the Opera House. These designs and sets are made for a reason. I'm going to ask about that. But even the sound of the music is impacted. Leo, tell me the creative decisions behind the hair in a specific opera or a specific pop, and how do those decisions, do you feel, affects the music and the perception of the music?
Well, you have to understand, hair it's like anything else. It has its time. It has its place. We go into fashion. Fashion repeats itself. So does hair. Mm-hmm. We can look at a hairstyle without the attire, and we would be able to determine what era that hair is from.
Okay.
When it comes to an artist, let's say we have a new artist, and it takes a team of people that comes together that creates this person. So this person is musically talented, but to us, it's a blank canvas. So when we come together, we figure out what is best for this new artist. What is the wave? What will set this artist apart from looking like everybody else? Let's take a look at an artist, a female artist, that has a particular album. We'll take Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
When I first learned about her hair was pink, and her look was very Barbie doll.
Mm-hmm.
Once she evolved from that, the looks changed. When we look at artists that are just starting out, we're talking from, we'll use Beyonce. When she first started out with her girl group, her hair was dark. As she progressed, and the more popular, the more famous she became, her hair changed. So she has become a beautiful blonde. Now, this is also can be a trend-setting thing where we have people that will come to us and they'll say, they bring us a picture and the picture is of Beyonce. So, you know, it's like with opera.
Gotcha.
We let's say what was that one? Madame Butterfly. You have different productions, and the conventional Japanese hairstyle it has moved from the conventional way of styling hair to a more, it's still the same production, but it's done with a more modern flair. So instead of that beautiful updo, it's long, flowing, natural hair. So if I'm to take a 13-year-old child to see a production, they can relate. The story, it's the same, but they're able to relate to the hair, the costume, the set design, which differs.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And I just want to add, I mean, I think in creating that image, I'm thinking back to one particular pop star who didn't start out as a pop star, but this was the Vanity Fair shoot. And with, again, preserving the identity. I remember her working there with Leo and feeling a bit timid in terms of the environment and all of the major Hollywood figures who were there. And any one of us might be intimidated. But this one in particular, I think, not only because this particular artist in particular, not only because of the condition, which also could lead to a lot of the self-confidence issues, but who's around today, who's still thriving. And I honestly believe that adding the hair and creating that image helped to build the confidence, helped to change the persona of this artist. And we're still hearing from this artist today in many different genres and is knocking it out of the park, frankly.
Absolutely.
Let's reverse it then. You said it's a blank canvas, and how do they look? How you want them to be a trendsetter, or the latest style, to help people relate to the music. What about the other way around? Do you, in creating a style, listen to the music and let the sound direct what you think should be happening visually? Like Pictures at an Exhibition was the opposite way, where he took what it was and decided what it should sound like. Do you do that as well, or is it just a blank canvas? You can make it whatever you want, and the music.
No. But that's most important. That is most important. I mean, what I would do on a gospel singer is not what I would do on a heavy metal guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's use heavy metal. Let's use rock, for instance. A lot of times, hair is a great part, is a very vital part of heavy metal music, of that rock. When you see the drummer, the guitar player, it's movement. Right. And what you're looking at is the hair. And I'm not saying that the hair makes them play better, right, but it's a part of the aesthetic. It's a part of the look of that genre of music. Now, I could be working with someone
psychology else. Today, they'll say it's part of the sound.
Absolutely.
If you're looking
absolutely. I could work with another artist where it could be a male and he is more a very soft mellow singer, and I could probably create braids sweeping to the floor and make him bare feet and very bohemian. So hair has a vital part to that we lock in with music as well.
Let me ask you, Micheal, in the same idea, right? What you did, or what you still do, actually, as I look at your list of hundreds of movies that you're on, what you do when you're deciding what kind of tattoo to use, what kind of art as the tattoo head of tattoo design and all the things I've seen, how does that affect the character, the design, the amount of tattoos, the colors? Do you use placement? Does all of this use to express a character? Do they take away from a character? How do you literally use the vision of your art to even explain what the character is doing or who they are?
Oh yeah, well that's a great question. I mean, with film and TV, you definitely there's always a lot of consultation with the director, with the actor, as to the character that is being portrayed, and whether they're a criminal, a hero, whether they've been in the SAS or whether they've been in a Taiwanese prison, or also the life they've led up to where they are now. And definitely the tattoos are there to help convey visually the storyline of their character, and it's it helps the actor and also the audience picture the character. See, like a picture tells 1,000 words, as they say. It's
right.
Just that little neck tattoo with this, or the hand tattoos or whether they're prison tattoos, like face tattoos, or
right.
Tattoos. It just is also relevant to creating that character.
I want to go back to the metal. So we're going to talk about stigmas for people over a certain age. Tattoos, right, were stigmatized for whatever reason. I'll tell you musically, right? If you're in heavy metal, you're supposed to have a lot of tattoos. That was it. But the sound was not the same. If you're in heavy metal, you're banging, you don't have any tattoos, it was like, well, is he really metal? Is it really that hard? Right? I would guess. But it was also something for the rebellious. Is that stigma still with the idea? And we're not even talking about, the work that you do, which is very specialized, right? The SMP. But tattoos in general, is that stigma still going on? How and when would an artist use it, do you think? Like, for instance, metal. Well, now the idea, hip hop is all over there too. Anything like, talk to me about that. The stigma, if it's still around, how you use it.
I guess the stigma has been there for years. With a tattoo is a form of rebellion. You were a hard art person, you were a criminal, or that kind of thing, or a rocker. But now it's come out and it's really changed, because the tattoos are cool now, and the young kids have them everywhere. And a neck tattoo used to be like very unusual to see a neck tattoo, whereas now they're more and more commonplace. Hand tattoos, they used to call hand tattoos, job stoppers. So,
wow. It's funny that you just said that, but go ahead. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, but now it's more and more commonplace, and with the imagery, it's creates a coolness, a vibe, an edgy vibe,
So the reason why
any particular genre anymore, is it?
No, it's not. And I kind of have a theory about that. Now, the reason why when you said job stoppers is because That's literally the term they use in this article I'm reading. I think the magazine is called Inside Out. And the article is How American Musicians Are Shaping Mainstream Tattoo Culture. The widening or the acceptance, I think, of hip hop as pop music. I think metal has always been and continues to try its hardest to be on the outskirts as much as possible. And the minute you get known, you're a sellout, which isn't true, but that's what it is, right? But I think hip hop became pop, and the ideas of the thug and the thug life on my stomach and the tattoo on my neck, face tattoos, is really what this article is about. Music has kind of driven that to mainstream. Would you say that that's true? Would you say that's the case?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even you look at Post Malone now, and
yes,
the face tattoos, and that would only a few years ago would have been really quite shocking, you know. But now it's like,
and he's singing love songs.
Yeah, and he's not a heavy metal
right
musician, you know. So it's like, or a punk rocker, or you know,
he's not a gangster rapper. It's none of the hard qualities we would put with it. All right.
Can I ask Micheal something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was reading your bio and I was quite impressed, Micheal, from the work on Avatar, and I think about that film and how impactful it was, and about some of the avatars and some of the I don't know, I guess for lack of a better word, tattoos on their faces. I think that was so, again, impactful just as a part of that story, the image. Were you responsible for that?
Not so much for the tattoos on their faces. I did a lot of tattoos on the bodies, and a lot of tattoo designs, and yeah.
I just think it's so cool because it seems to inform. I mean, these huge pictures, and obviously that's a big one. They kind of do impact how we dress, how we look, our our life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and getting back to that image thing, I mean, when you see an image of an artist now, not so much now, but it is changing, but you could look at that artist and you would be able to pick the genre of music they were playing, couldn't you? You saw an album cover, which, I mean, I think is still similar now with an album cover or album artwork. It kind of depicts it gives you a sense of what the music is going to be.
Exactly.
Visually.
Again, that what was it, Psychology Today article, that the idea of the synergy between seeing and hearing, and how seeing something can change your hearing, and how hearing something can even change how you see it, how they work together. I want to see if I can expand this into something crazy. Presentation, for auditions, for performance, for debuts, for interviews, right? A good friend of mine tells me that hair becomes its own personality. That's Shelton, by the way. Right? Number one, give some artists best practices in using this effect. And artists can make we'll just keep it to hair choices when representing themselves to the powers that be. Everybody can chime in on this one. Representing themselves to the person auditioning, to the label, even to the customer when they hand them the CD. Best practices as far as using the effect of your hair, using the effect of the visual to inform the music that they're listening to.
Okay, let's pick a genre of music. Let's say we find a pop artist, and this person walks in, they just shaved their head.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will the makeup and the wardrobe compensate? Possibly. Would hair make a difference? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's for us as the shadows to figure out what this genre of music is. We also have to take the artist's personality into consideration, because You also, as an artist, you must be comfortable with your performance and with yourself. So not only are we now looking at your genre of music, we now have to, well, this is what Jeff and I, this is how we do our thing. We just sit and we have a chat with you, but not knowing that that chat is really trying to get into your head, get into your psyche, who you are, what your personality is all about. And once we can tap into that, then we can move forward. We can create something that will work not only for the artist, but we hope it would have an impact on the cover of the album and the audience.
Think about how the world kind of went crazy, though. Does everybody remember when Britney Spears shaved her head?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Britney like did. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan in terms of familiar with her catalog of work, but I remember whenever she shaved her head, and I don't think she recorded or did anything at that time that I know of where we saw her visually. And I don't know if she did, put on a wig, but I'm sure that it does in fact inform the music, because I can't imagine a bald-headed Britney Spears doing the same kind of
the sexy music.
Right.
Music. That music needs to be confident music.
When an artist goes that radical, the management, the label, PR, all goes crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're going against the grain, and this is not what we signed up for. So how do we, and when you become an artist and you get that level, then you have the authority to say, you know what, this is how I'm going on stage.
Okay.
Either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we in the background, we're chomping on the bits and we're nervous and we're saying, oh my God, let's pray that this works. You know?
It makes me think of,
hold on one second. Micheal, you wanted to chime in there?
I was just going to say, though, I think the Britney Spears thing was maybe her just rebelling and saying, I've had enough of this, and that was her bugger you guys, I'm going to shave all my hair off and
like Prince changing his name to a sign. You guys can't control me. I like it.
Yeah. Right. The other thing I was just going to say, I mean, agreeing with Leo and Jeff, but I was also going to say that look, whatever the artist is creating, needs to look real, and they need to have that authentic, real look about it, rather than, oh look, I've done this for trying to be this. It really needs to be them. They need to be that person. And
absolutely,
I think that is a very important way to say it, because really that's why you have the consultation, right, Leo? I mean, that's what you guys are saying. That's why you talk to them. But it's said more succinctly is, no matter what you choose, if I was going to give you a best practice, it's make sure it's real. Don't choose the next purple hair because you thought that would make you look good when you don't have the personality to support it. Well, your music doesn't have the personality to support it.
Well, we have had people that has come to us, and they want to dictate, this is what I want. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times a person will bring an image of a movie star. Mm-hmm. But the first thing we do is remove that piece of paper from them, because we cannot make you look like that movie star.
Right.
So we go back to the drawing board, and once again, it's about conversating with the person, figuring out their personality, and move forward. And we usually ask, you're meeting us for the first time, we're complete strangers, but we ask of you to trust us, to trust our instincts, and to trust in our direction that in moving you forward. And we are tick. We're usually on point where it comes to that. I'm going to give you one quick little story A woman flew into us from another state, and she had on a little brown wig. And I asked her to remove the wig, and her hair was gray. Mm-hmm. And I thought her hair was absolutely beautiful, but she suffered from alopecia in the crown of her head. So what we decided to do, I said, well, have you ever thought of wearing your own natural color? She says, I admire it, but because I have no hair, then I don't have a choice. So what we did, we created a system just for the area where there was no hair. And what that woman did, she went home, she changed her glasses, she changed her wardrobe, and she became a completely different person.
she finally became real. She became who she was.
And I think her authentic self.
Absolutely. Her authentic self. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I just wanted to say was that we have spoken a lot about alopecia and issues or diseases with medical issues, but often it's not a medical issue. It can just be genetics, and sometimes it's just people don't have the best hair. There's not necessarily anything wrong with them. It may be the hair may be thin, or
Great point.
Male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness. It's not always a medical issue. It's just like some people have not very good hair or thin hair. So it's it's not always a medical concern.
Great point. Yeah. If anybody else hasn't seen this, if you looked at right down there, people, it's called The Difference Makers: Hair, Art, Performance, and Heart. And that last part, heart, is really where we're getting into. I'm glad you mentioned alopecia. I wasn't going to get into this part until later, but we're here now. Let's talk about it. You guys really help communities. You guys really help communities, people's lives, with hair. And let's just start with alopecia. First of all, we'll go back to Leo and Jeff, and you guys also do this type of community work, this type of life affirming work, right? Can you talk about what that is, what you do, why that's important?
Well, usually when someone makes that call to us, that they're having hair loss issues, we usually invite them in for a consultation. We have private rooms where we allow each male or female to have, their privacy. So once we take a look at the hair and we make an assessment, then it's either or. We can either work with the area where there's hair loss, or we can create a system for the entire head. Yeah.
Okay.
So it varies. We've had customers that when they first started, the hair loss was this size, and now today, after how many years after, this is what's left on their head.
Right.
It's much hair. So we are able to manipulate and to create a system for male, female, man, woman, or child that we work with.
Outstanding. Awesome. For everybody, before we get in, for everybody, I don't want to get too heartfelt yet. Let me add some levity. Will Smith straight up slapped Chris Rock in the face. Okay? It seems like we're going left, but I'm going to bring it back. This was the most amazing moment in TV history. I still have it on my top 5 list. I want to know what you guys thought about that for sure, because I just got to know how that made you feel. But the reason why was because Chris Rock was talking about his wife who has alopecia. And I think that moment brought it to our attention. Although it was a horrible moment, I don't think anybody was talking about alopecia, even though we all knew that she had it, until that drastic moment. Let me go to Micheal. First of all, give me your reaction of that moment, but then let's get into actually why it is you do what you do. What effects have you seen? How do people react who have alopecia? What's that like? Is it as bad as I'm saying?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, getting back to the Will Smith, I mean, that was a shock for everyone to see that. And at first, you thought it was staged because you thought, oh, this can't be real. This can't be happening. This must be a skit they're doing. But yeah, it was obviously real. And I think, yeah, like for a lady, it's often her hair is her crowning glory, isn't it? So it definitely can be quite soul destroying in a way if you're losing whether alopecia, whether it's a small area, whether it's a big area, and it changes all the time. And probably, for a lady, a system or a wig is perfect to help regain her confidence and enable her to interact socially and go out and be able to enjoy life without having to stay inside.
Yeah.
With guys, it's maybe a guy's more likely to go, okay, let's shave it all, and SMP can be good for that. So, but it's definitely can be a traumatic experience. So.
Indeed. The slap heard round the world. Leo and Jeff, I need your opinion on it. Did you think it was staged when you first saw it? What's your opinion on it? And then get into why that would happen. Why it's such a strong feeling. What is alopecia like in your interactions with people who've had it? How much it hurts them? We'll start with the funny stuff.
All right. Well, first of all, hair is the bane of a woman's existence.
Wow.
Now, a lot of times we have this thing, society teaches us that boys don't cry. Men are just as sensitive with hair loss issues as women. But a woman could wear a $10,000 gown and her hair is not nice. The gown means nothing. A woman can have her hair very nicely done, and she's wearing Hanes t-shirt and Levi jeans, and she's stunning.
Wow.
So when it comes to hair can be an extremely sensitive subject matter.
Okay.
And so, yes, for Will Smith to have reacted that drastically, I thought was a bit much. However, it is a sensitive subject matter, wouldn't you say?
Look, for me, I definitely thought it was staged. I was like, oh, this is brilliant TV. I was just like, is this for real? Because I was in and out with those shows. I mean, to be honest, I feel like, the award shows are a little bit lame, if you will, just kind of like the same old same. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this is what I want to see, right? I mean, and then processing it, hearing later about sort of what was behind it. I was not familiar with Will Smith's wife's condition.
Right.
We see it a lot, unfortunately, with many of the people who we've dealt with. And it is a serious issue. It is a very serious health issue. You hear people all the time who say that it definitely affects their self-confidence. We've had folks travel from us from all around the globe, from a child who I'm thinking about in London, whose mother brought her. She literally had a condition similar to alopecia, where it's kind of like all of the hair on her body dropped off, including her eyebrows, eyelashes. So she had like nothing. When Leo was able to work his magic and to create a system for that child, it's like she again felt like, according to her mother and what the little girl shared with her mom, part of her community at school, she started opening up, she started flourishing. It really changed things around for her. And I think one other thing that actually links directly to music, which I know that's your wheelhouse, we had a well-known music artist also from the UK, who came to us, her record company. She came to us. We were sent images initially, and she looked nothing like what they wanted her to look like, which was a much fuller head of hair. And
well, what it was, we're also image consultants. And so when they sent her image to us and we said, well, what is the direction here? She's more, what is her genre of music, you would say? Is it rock?
We just don't want, we want to maintain the privacy of the individual.
Yes, go ahead, no worries.
Yeah, so what we did, it was more of a natural look. So all we simply did was just enhanced what was already on her head.
Mm-hmm.
So she had very fine hair. So we just created a look to make, we create illusions.
Right.
So from a fine head of hair to a beautiful full head of hair. So when someone looks at her, you know, they won't see a drastic difference. They will say, wow, what did she do? She looks beautiful. Not recognizing or realizing that just a few pieces of hair that made the difference.
Awesome.
And Doug, I think that, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I think it actually also showed in her performance.
Absolutely.
Because we were at the concerts with her. We were traveling around with her, and we not only were told that it affected her whole entire persona, and sort of not only gave her more confidence, but sort of brought out the real sense of who this music artist believed they could be, as well as from the music company. So it was really poetic, actually.
It was, and if I might add, this was at Madison Square Gardens. So we got an opportunity to actually watch and see the performance, you know, and it was magnificent.
And I want to get personal for a little bit. We're going to end off here, but in reading the biographies, can you tell me a little bit about your mother and growing up in Jamaica, Leo? I know that watching her get her hair done was something that even, I guess, brought you into the love of hair and the artistry of it. Tell me about her. Tell me about how that happened. Tell me about what that meant to you, or how it affects you or her.
Well, you know, I this is what started all of this. As a child, my mom is going to the hairdresser. I didn't have a choice but to get in the car and sit through her appointment.
Right.
Now, my mother is a Black woman, and she went to a woman from Sweden.
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica. And she did this out of her home. So to sit and watch this woman work her magic to create this Black woman's hair, at the end of the do, my mother looked like either the Queen of England or Margaret Thatcher.
Really?
Yeah? That is not the norm in our community. You know, it's usually a little more simple. A woman can have a beautiful cut, but the finished look is what really counts. So to see my mother leaving this lady's chair with this particular coiffed, if you will,
right,
it was absolutely mind-blowing. And you know, I tell you, to watch her cut my mother's hair was so different from what I'm used to seeing. To watch her go through the whole process from start to finish was completely different, and that's where the fascination started. When I would leave that salon, I would go home, get that pair of scissors, any scissors I could find,
and try to recreate it.
And I would go from friend to friend's house, and I would be cutting hair. And I remember how she would pull the hair and she would hold it between her fingers and she would cut. And then I would mock or mimic what she did. And I would create.
What about your mother? Why would she choose that style? In Jamaica, a black woman looking like Margaret Thatcher, there's a personality there that I want to get to know. Tell me about her.
Well, my mother was a very conservative woman.
Obviously, I see.
She was actually a coffee farmer. My mother exported coffee to Asia. So in her little world, it was my sister's hairdresser. And my sister says, "Mom, I want you to go to this hairdresser." And my mother did, and whatever she did, my mother loved it. And the thing is, she stood out. You had to, we go to the supermarket, we go to dinner, whatever, you had to take a look. You have to take a look at this hair because it just wasn't the norm. But it was fabulous. It really was. And up to today, that is my very favorite way of styling hair.
The Thatcher look.
So the cliche to that is, I wouldn't put it on the average person. It's beautiful if a woman young, extremely trendy, and to wear hair like that, you have to take a second look.
Right. You got to be bold. Okay, you have to be bold. That's awesome. Coffee farmer. I knew there was something about her that I needed to hear about.
She was a very special woman.
Sounds like an amazing woman. Micheal, there's another amazing woman that I want to speak about.
All right.
It's the person who's your partner in crime in all of the endeavors at SMP Noosa. Your wife.
Yeah.
So I'll let you tell me. Tell me about her. She helps out in makeup and a whole bunch of other stuff as I see, but I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, so she's my wife is very spiritual. She loves holistic medicine. She loves beauty therapy and that sort of thing. She does a lot of yoga, a lot of Pilates, and she helps out, regularly behind the scenes, setting up my space, dealing with clients, bookwork, and all the stuff that needs to be done that often isn't so much fun to do.
Is she your Jeff? Am I right? The business side, with creative flair, as it were?
Yeah, I'd say so. And she's definitely my support, behind the scenes. She's my rock, I would say. Yeah.
And that brings me to Jeff. I say, is she your Jeff? Because from all accounts that I can find, the thing that's holding the business together, which is why it should be no surprise that you were the financier who became a stylist, is Jeff. I know that the passion, right, for this is real. You guys met each other, but where did that come from? Where did that type of a passion for being this type of a business? Because you could have done anything. Where did it come from? Where did that start? I didn't get your history. I have no stories of mothers or anything else. You tell me.
I think it was instilled in me as a young child, as it was my siblings, the importance of community. And for me, it all goes back to community, really. And was carried on throughout my education all the way to Georgetown University, where I graduated. Community service was such a big part of it. And that's why doing this endeavor with Leo, to be able to help others and to be able to change lives, essentially, to give people back a sense of confidence, to a sense of belonging, want to be a part of a community again, make them come out of their shell, make the singer become that big rock star who we all still listen to today. Like, I love seeing those transformations in people, because it all really goes back to me, for me, to the importance of community and why we should give of ourselves. And whenever I was doing the financial work, it felt important. It certainly didn't hurt my bank account, but at the same time, I've always been one who's wanted to give back. And this just seemed like the perfect opportunity to do it. So that's kind of where we converged.
You guys are obviously experts, behind the scenes decision makers, as we say, right? You guys understand the topic, but most importantly, the show, the channel, is about music's and art's connection to humanity. And whenever I find people like you guys who use your art to literally connect to humanity in more ways than just your pocketbook or a good song, which is not bad, I love that too, I want to highlight it and showcase it. So let me give you guys your flowers as we end here. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for sharing it with us at the MC's channel. And I am just over the moon that you guys said yes and allowed us to interview. Any last words? I will step out of the way.
You know, I'm going to say it real quick. For each person that we work with, music is most important. Depending on the age group, we try to match the music with the age group. And 9 times out of 10, if we have an Otis Redding girl and a James Brown girl, 9 times out of 10, at some point, she's going to get up and do a little rock.
Right.
And then she sits down and continues. So music in all aspects, it works.
It informs.
It works. Absolutely.
Awesome. Any other last words?
Yeah. So, same with me when I'm tattooing someone's scalp. We have the soul, the jazz music going, and it just makes the whole experience great, and it's inspirational.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. And you out there in the YouTube world, thank you for watching today. You got it. It was the real. It was unedited. Maybe a couple edits in there by the time you get it. But you've been watching Unscripted. See you next time, guys. Thanks.